ago, we learned the identity of the teenager killed in that shooting yesterday at the Shaker Heights Public Library.
Oh, we just get ice cream, you know? Y'all ain't got the Timmy Turner one on here? Huh? Y'all ain't got the Dame special on this bitch? This nigga was good.
Man, what the fuck are you doing? Bro, why is this nigga aiming that good at everybody?
Nigga, yo, get back for Doc, these niggas sad. They should never took out the trash, they left his head next to the bag.
Welcome to Midwest Steppas. And you know we got a situation, so go on get situated. But before you do that, do your guy a favor and tap that like button, comment, and if you haven't subscribed, go on and push that too, so you can stay situated. Now, we all know about that Cleveland drill scene. That drill spirit like them to die young and violent. And that's what we have here. A bunch of young men with army grade guns and no care for human life. What I'm about to show you next is the exact reason Cleveland became one of the most dangerous drill scenes in America. Because once this mindset took over, nowhere was off limits. Sit back while I walk you through some of the Cleveland most gruesome acts of crime. Today, I want to talk about Cleveland's most active gangs.
And this is just a cursory breakdown of the crews, alliances, and beefs, so that I don't have to do it again later, and we can get straight into the meat and potatoes on other videos.
We'll start with PAK.
I ain't doing too much, nigga better not think of Debo playing hard, gon' check trying to act too tough.
He ain't here no more, that's why he missing. I'm smoke, I dumped a boat, her nephew should've been out here dissing.
I'm supposed to be in the stew, but I'm on superior banking a switch. I ain't never need a nigga, I'm in the back with the 829 advance, don't hit nigga.
SNR.
10 to 10 motivated me up, been stacking up paper, I ain't doing too much. Nigga better not think of Debo playing hard, gon' check trying to act too tough.
Don't go like damn coming out the house or get dead like money for trying to slide.
But they allied with CVM,
Make the news, you do Timo out the window, man, this nigga hitting like boo.
LTB, that's Loyal to My Brothers, 582,
In the dust, every time bro turn that drip mode on, I swear to God, I'ma pop my dope.
So we gon' get bankroll. Got a lot of money, but the pain won't go. Shit ain't going right and it hurt my soul. I see
beefing with 105,
On the better shit, say she gon' fuck my nigga, I takes back, you better bitch. I'm still on cheddar shit, still surge snow when that weather switch.
who is allied with 129,
Damn, niggas go check my resume, they know coke get next. Bitch get next, like a bitch with the back of my blinking for hotel, me I'm sad. Bitch, I ain't got rid of switch, I caught a BZ on it. 7'6", who's known to rip the whip, so you can't duck behind it.
Lakeview, and 99th in St. Clair. Now PAK is short for Pakistan. Now 129, most known for rappers 29 Corey, 29 Mir, and 29 Juice. They had a long-standing beef with CVM GG. 237,
Best advised that you stay in the house. One way ticket straight to heaven. Dissing 237, nigga, shut your mouth.
He heard that from the then he felt the switch spinning back to back. Cause some ain't dead, I can't put up with this. Twig bit off the V with a
Fairside,
Sometimes I get in my feelings and start overthinking like who really ride for me. Talking to mama through a GTL call, I know that she ain't proud of me.
Chase Gang, Eddie Road, and more. Now 129 had a member goes by the name of Damon Jacobs, aka Dame Gotti. Now Dame Gotti was young, around 19 years of age, still staying at home with his moms, still had chores and shit to do like that. Seemed like the mother was doing what she could to teach him responsibility. But see, Dame claimed a gang called 129 that had conflict with CVM/GG. They like the same thing, y'all. And would be close affiliates with fallen soldier Timo or family. I couldn't find that out. But see, Dame stayed out of bounds, right by CVM hood. They also beef with multiple other factions in Cleveland also. I think that what made Dame such an easy target, a lone sheep, away from this hood he claimed, and by the ops. Members of the rival gang would send Dame messages stating that he's next, and they wasn't playing. On June 26, 2022, part of Dame's chores was to take out the trash, so he did. While taking out the trash, masked men emerged from the darkness. Before Dame could react, the first couple shots ripped Dame's chin off. They let about 50 plus shots off close range, right in front of Dame's house. I could just imagine the mother hearing those shots knowing her son outside. With a mother intuition, she probably knew it was her son when she heard the first shots. Nothing she could do. So sad. Rumors online would say it was GG, CVM, or some Eddie Road guys, or a group that sits right outside of 129. But that was all wrong. When it finally came to light, it was the Superior Boys, aka Lil Mexico, aka the Mex. Now, when we get into this case of the Mex, aka Superior Boys, you will see that these boys are straight demons. I guess they like to live fast and die young. Let's dive into this case because the murder of Dame was brought up in this indictment, and it reads, for months, robbery after robbery unfolded in much the same way. Gun-wielding thieves driving in stolen cars and wearing masks. Block drivers robbed them in boat before the victims even knew what happened, investigators say. They called themselves the Superior Boys, a gang that authorities say terrified residents with violent acts across Cuyahoga County for months. Police from 6 different cities and analysts worked together until they caught a break that enabled them to charge a handful of members in connection with the attacks earlier this year. On Friday, a county grand jury indictment handed up results of a much larger break. 3 men and 2 teenage boys were charged with aggravated murder in the deaths of Damon Jacobs, aka Dame Gotti, and Maurice Baker. Detectives suspect slaying stemmed from retaliatory gunfire that sprayed across the city in the past 2 years. Kenneth Green, Roderick Coleman, and Kenny Collins are accused of killing Barber in October 2021. 2 18-year-old men were accused of gunning down Jacobs on July 2022 because they were 17 years old at the time they were charged in juvenile court. The grand jury also slapped 2 others, Andre Levitt and Ronald Gonzalez, with charges including aggravated robbery and felonious assault tied to 5 more stick-ups that the group carried out. The new charges are on top of January's indictment in which the gang members were accused of more than 90 total counts. Those allegations include racketeering, felonious assault, aggravated robbery, tied to more than a dozen indictments from Barrow and Lakewood to Cleveland Heights and Bedford Heights. In total, the group is now charged with carrying out 19 robberies, 2 homicides, and a non-fatal shooting, and officials are investigating whether they are connected to 11 more robberies, prosecutors say. Cuyahoga County prosecutors Michael O'Malley said the months-long investigation is a blinding example of how small groups of people can carry out much of the gun violence that has jumped to the levels not seen here in decades. It's not surprising to me, given the level of violence that we've seen from them, that they are now tied to several murders, O'Malley said. A wave of robberies. Analysts with the prosecutor office crime strategist unit first noticed several robberies across Cuyahoga County in September 2022, in which victims described being robbed by assailants in a silver or gray Honda. The car drove up to them, blocked their cars from moving. The gunmen, flashing a pistol with blue laser sights, jumped out of the car and robbed them. They struck 3 times within an hour, September 20th, 2022. They carjacked a man and a woman about 11:15 p.m. in a parking lot of a Planet Fitness on Smith Road and Brook Park. Then again to a man about midnight as he was parked outside TikTok Tavern on Clifton Boulevard near the Cleveland-Lakewood border. A couple also told police that someone parked in front of them while they were stopped at an ATM on West 107th Street and Lorraine Avenue. People jumped out the car with guns. The victims drove away, but the robbers chased after them around the neighborhood before the victims eventually lost them. A month later, Yvette, Coleman, Green, and one of the teenagers came upon a man sitting in a car in a parking lot of an apartment building at Cedar and Lee Road in Cleveland Heights. They pulled guns on him, investigators said. Surveillance videos recorded the man as he tried to run away, but one of the assailants chased him down and brought him back to the others. The group pistol whipped him, forced him to remove his pants and shoes, and then stole his car. As the man ran off, the group began firing at him, nearly hitting him in the back. The first break came days later when police arrested Green, a teenager in a car that had been stolen out of the old Brooklyn driveway 3 weeks earlier. Officers found 2 guns inside the car and ran them through the federal law enforcement database and awaited the results. Meanwhile, prosecutors say the group members continued to terrify residents until November. All told, the group members committed 10 robberies that month, according to prosecutors. On November 4th, they carried out 3 armed holdups in a little over an hour. Just before 8:30 p.m., they pulled up to block a man sitting in his driveway on West 31st Street in Cleveland. The man was leaving his home to pick up his toddler daughter. 3 men with guns and ski masks forced him to transfer money using Cash App. They then stole his phone and the rental he was in with his child's seat in the back, according to investigators. Just after 9 p.m., the group drove up in 3 cars to block a couple driving along Broadway Road in Cleveland and stole a woman's purse at gunpoint, authorities said. Less than 20 minutes later, a man left Corky's place in Lakewood to move his car that was parked on Clarence Avenue. A car driving down the street stopped, reversed, and parked in front of him. 2 men with guns and ski masks jumped out and ran up to the car. The gunman rifled his car, took his phone, and drove off. Days later, November the 9th, the group again robbed 3 people in less than 90 minutes. Wow. Piecing together the robberies, Cleveland police detectives noticed that almost all the victims in November robberies reported that the assailants were driving a gray and silver Honda. The detectives sent officers with gang and PAK units on nightly patrols looking for the car. They found the car just after midnight, November 15. The gang officers were about to call off the search when they spotted a car that matched the description drive past them near Memphis Avenue and Fulton Parkway. The detective turned around to tail the car, and they noticed that it didn't have a license plate, just like the car from the robberies. The Honda whipped a U-turn, the cop followed. It pulled into Burger King on Memphis Avenue and drove to the drive-thru. The officers waited until the car pulled up to the window and was stopped before blocking it. The drivers tried to get out, but he couldn't get out the door because it was too close to the building. Police surrounded the car and arrested the occupants. A suspect member of the gang named Tennell Matthew Vance and Coleman. The officers learned the car was reported stolen out of Cleveland, and they found a .22 caliber Glock pistol lying on the passenger floor. But the key to unraveling the case came in the men's cell phone, which police seized and obtained a warrant to search. Investigators sent the cell phones to the Ohio Internet Crimes Against Children agents, who cracked the phone passwords and downloaded the content within hours. The next day, November 16th, the prosecutor's crime strategy unit called a meeting with detectives from across the county to share evidence. That same day, investigators also received results of the gun seized from the October 21st arrest of Green and the teenager. The gun matched bullet casings fired in the Cleveland Heights attack. While crime analysts and detectives poured through the cell phone data during the day, police officers spent the night searching for other suspects. It is no exaggeration to say that the law enforcement were working 24 hours a day on this case, Ryan Bukop, supervisor of the prosecutor's crime analyst unit, said. The data contained in this phone led investigators to a stash house on West 99th Street near Madison Ave. They got a search warrant to enter the house on November 17th, and they discovered a trove of items stolen from dozens of gun robberies in prior months. The Cleveland police detectives went outside and sifted through the trash bins and found more evidence from prior robberies. The search occurred on trash day after the garbage trucks had hit the neighborhood, but nobody wheeled the trash cans out of the house to the curb, so the evidence remained in the cans. Amongst the items found in the trash was a diamond ring that investigators suspect was stolen, prosecutors said. The investigators continued to work the case. They found social media accounts that featured the men posting photographs of themselves with the stolen items inside the stash house. Still, the group and the investigation wasn't done. On December 19th, while other members of the group were still in jail, Lovett carried out another aggravated robbery in Bedford Heights, authorities said. The next day, the task force made up of U.S. Marshals tracked Lovett to his house in East Cleveland, and the officers went to arrest him. He left from the second-story window and ran into some woods. Investigators tracked him down a short time later and arrested him. In his pocket, Lovett had 9 IDs and credit cards stolen during several of the robberies. During the spree, Lovett robbed 2 high school classmates, investigators said. Both men recognized him, and one told police that Lovett lifted his mask and said, "It's Dre." Investigators found social media messages from members of the Superior Boys in which they discussed Dre having to do more to join the gang, a sign that he was perhaps being initiated into the gang. Meanwhile, Cleveland police detectives attempted to track down a teen accused in some of the robberies. They were watching a house when they saw a teen walking outside and get into a car. The detectives tailed them at a distance. When the car pulled up to a man walking along the street on his way to a barbecue restaurant, the teens ran up to the man and robbed him at gunpoint, then got back in the car as the undercover gang car pulled up to the scene. The teens sped off. Police arrested them the next day. Prosecutors sent DNA samples from all 7 of the suspects to the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner Office Regional Forensic Laboratory, which returned the latest break in the case this past August. The DNA also tied members of the group to the most serious charges to date. Damon Jacobs, 19, was shot and killed on July 26, 2022 on Raven Road in Cleveland. Investigators believe that the 3 gunmen fired more than 50 bullets at Jacobs before fleeing. Police quickly identified Tyshawn Moore as a suspect who was indicted earlier this year on aggravated murder and murder charges. Investigators believe the killing was in retaliation for the slaying of Moore's brother, Charles, who was killed 3 days earlier. Tyshawn Moore pleaded guilty this summer to involuntary manslaughter and the killing, and the judge last month sentenced him to 6 years in prison. Moore was the only person tied to Jacob's death until the results from August showed one of the juvenile's DNA was on the shell castings found on the scene. The other youth's DNA was on the gun. One of the juveniles also posted a video on Instagram in which prosecutors say he taunted Jacobs and told him, "You're next." DNA also connected Coleman, Collins, and Green to the suspect's getaway vehicle used in the October 1st, 2021 killing of 33-year-old Maurice Baker outside a hot dog stand on East 123rd Street. He had been shot in the face. Detectives suspect the slaying and other gunfire has something to do with the Superior Boys' long-running feud with a rival, the Lakeview Boys.
Fuck a 582, got the 762 coming down the ski. Me and bro on the blade will tweak me and my section 4's gonna drop a 3.
The Superior Boys, who refer to their territory south of Superior Avenue and east of East 110th Street as Little Mexico, memorialized their work in photos on social media. Months after Barbara's death, 7 members of the Superior Boys posed in a photograph posted 2022. 1 is dead and 4 others are charged with brutal killings. The gang that was once so terrifying has now been broken apart. Most members have denied in court the earlier charges from January. Those indictments Friday are expected to be arraigned in the next few weeks. Pause. I know a lot of people hearing this like, damn, them boys laying belt. Them Negroes are nothing to play with. But really, in reality, they went outside tormenting their own people. The most oppressed, depressed, the most battered and bruised, poorest people when it comes to real wealth, with no protection. The black community. And that's where they unleash their reign of terror on the weakest people. And you think that's bad? But no one put their life on the line for nothing righteous. Motherfuckers are selfish with the suicide. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying, to urge nobody to self-destruct, but why all your violence only pertain to our own people? Think about it. If you gonna sacrifice your life, at least do it for a reason, not words. You know what I'm saying? We got purposes to fight for over here. Back to the meat and potatoes. Now, if you're from Cleveland, you probably already know where this is headed. But for everyone else, buckle up. Because January 12th, 2024, 3 teens will be traveling around in a Kia Soul. Phoenix Brown, aka PJ, from Broadway by 49th area. Also here, from Warrensville or something. Julius Barron, aka Jew Man, and Kaylin White, aka Beans from 237. Now this part is rumored and can get a little messy, but from what was said, 3 teams were riding around with PJ in the back, had Beans and Jew Man in the front. But they said that Jew Man and Beans tried to rob PJ. But I say it don't make no sense, because who tries to rob somebody in the back seat for a gun, fails to do the robbery, then turn around and keep driving? Now the only way this makes sense to me is if he had 2 weapons. But it was said PJ played it cool, and when they turned around, he pulled a YNW Melly, shooting them both in the head while the car was moving. But here's what the reports have to say about it.
All right, 2 people were killed in Cleveland's Slavic Village neighborhood overnight. Their bodies found in a car that crashed into a pole. But the crash, according to police, is not what killed them.
Medic 11 on scene at Jeffries and Warner. We got it for an MVA. It's actually going to be a gunshot.
What police thought was a car into a light pole turned out to be 2 men shot dead inside a Kia SUV.
Studio A.
So I had him describe what was on there.
A Kia Soul was coming down the street, and 3 people jumped out of the car right before the car hit the telephone pole. And there was still people in the car. Then those 3 people came back, ransacked the car, and then left.
Cuyahoga County prosecutors Michael C. O'Malley announced that Phoenix Brown, 19, 18 at the time of the incident, found guilty on all counts for the murders of 17-year-old Kaylin and 16-year-old Julius Barron in Cleveland. On January 12, 2025, a black 2020 Kia Soul was reported stolen near Lee Road and Harvard Avenue in Cleveland. 2 days later, on January 14th, around 1 a.m., the Cleveland Division Police, the Cleveland Division of Fire, and the Cleveland EMS responded to a call regarding the same stolen Kia that had crashed into a utility pole near Warner Road and Jeffries Avenue in Cleveland. While on the scene, police observed Phoenix Brown flee the scene on foot. Police pursued Brown. During the pursuit, Brown had a gun in his possession that he discarded prior to the arrest. Brown was ultimately arrested by CPD, and his clothing was covered in blood. Additionally, he was arrested with drugs in his pocket. Cleveland Police Department recovered the firearm. Police located 17-year-old Kaylin White and 16-year-old Julius Brown inside the vehicle with gunshot wounds to the head. They were both pronounced deceased on the scene. The investigation was conducted by the Cleveland Police Department. The investigation revealed the firearm was the murder weapon used in the double homicide of Brown. DNA was located on the weapon. 2 weeks prior to the homicide, Brown stole the firearm from a juvenile male and displayed it on social media. He then used the firearm to commit the double homicides. On October 22, 2025, Phoenix Brown was found guilty of following charges: 2 counts of aggravated murder, 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 1 count of aggravated robbery, 1 count of grand theft, 1 count of receiving stolen property, 1 count of possession of fentanyl-related compound, 1 count of having weapons while under disability. He would be sentenced at the Cuyahoga County Center on Monday, October 17th at 1:30. PJ's lawyer will go with the self-defense argument and also the PTSD, saying that he suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome, which could be true. Man, where all this backdoor culture come from, y'all? All that snake shit. I remember when being called a snake was an insult, almost like being called a rat. Now these demons are taking honor in being the biggest slime, the biggest op, backdoor gang and shit. It's crazy. Now, another thing about Cleveland, they don't only take over corner stores, gas stations, like most Midwest cities, they also take over libraries, obviously, because this next murder will make parents think twice when their child says, I'm going to the library. Because April 2nd, 2025, in Shaker Heights, police arrested a 15-year-old Wednesday in connection with a fatal shooting of an 18-year-old man inside of a Shaker Heights library Tuesday afternoon.
We learned the identity of the teenager killed in that shooting yesterday at the Shaker Heights Public Library. The city says the victim is 18-year-old Charles Lee Shanklin, who lives in Shaker Heights. The 15-year-old has been arrested in connection to his death. Daniel Wiggins has more.
Radio 2 off Shaker Heights is backing over to the library, 16500 Van Eaton. We have gunshots.
A teenager opens fire inside a crowded Shaker Heights library Tuesday afternoon. And today, Shaker Heights police returned to the scene of the crime. The department saying the shooting was a result of two Shaker Heights teenagers, a 15 and 18-year-old, getting into a physical altercation at the library. The 15-year-old shoots the 18-year-old and flees. The victim, identified as Charles Lee Shanklin, was taken to university hospitals where medical staff pronounced him dead.
Now, rumors are that they tried to jump him, and there was an outcry because there's been a lot of fights, and parents feel like there should have been some security protocols in place. The Cuyahoga County prosecutor has charged him with several felonious counts, including murder, felonious assault, and carrying a concealed weapon, according to the release. The Cuyahoga County medical examiner identified the victim as Charles Shanklin. From page 5. Shaker Heights City School official confirmed Shanklin was a student at Shaker Heights High School last year. Shaker Heights police called out to the main branch of the Shaker Heights Public Library at 16500 Van Eaton Boulevard around 4:45 p.m. for a report of a shooting, according to the release. Shanklin, a 15-year-old that go by K2 from the PAK,
Free K2, man, I miss you, bro. I'm still out here doing these niggas bitches.
were involved in a fight when a 15-year-old shot Shanklin and fled. When the first responders arrived, they found Shanklin and immediately started CPR until EMS arrived. Shanklin was transported by ambulance to the University Hospital where he died from his injuries. Police said they arrested a 15-year-old minutes later. Channel 9 also looked into some of K2's background and found out that he had multiple other, felonies and stuff like that going on too. One thing I noticed, a lot of these guys have dreads or long hair. The Bible said that Samson's strength was in his hair. If you look at everything that comes from the earth, it grows towards the sun. Our hair grows towards the sun. Other people's hair grow down like it's dead. It was said that our hair was antennas, helping us to better connect with the aura field, the spiritual realm. Why you think black people are so spiritual? But don't confuse spiritual with just good things. There's also bad spirits. Yin and yang. What's good for the penguin, snow, is bad for the flowers. So in essence, if one isn't trained in self, having long hair can help invite demonic spirits. And good ones if you know how to channel the energy. If not, all that hair just gonna make you a hothead. But much love. I'll catch you next time. You, me, and I'm you. Peace.